Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about guerrilla warfare. You know, insurgencies and things like that, and why it gives the little guy a chance to beat the big guy. See, to win a guerrilla war, you just have to not lose if you're the guerrilla. And if you're trying to conduct counterinsurgency, if you don't win, you lose. So if you can just get victory by default by not losing, that's a pretty good way to go. There have been numerous examples of guerrillas or insurgencies beating superpowers, or at least much stronger opponents. I mean, Hezbollah defeated Israel in the Lebanon War. The Vietnamese defeated the French and the Americans, and later on the Chinese. And then, of course, you have the Soviets in Afghanistan, and there are numerous examples all over the world of European colonialism falling apart, like the French in Algeria. Now, most of these were not accomplished with military victories. They were accomplished with political ones. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because military forces are tools, simply tools of politicians to accomplish a political goal by force, basically. And as such, if you win a political victory, if you defeat your enemy politically, what the hell do you need the military victory for? As years after the war in Vietnam, a American general said to a North Vietnamese one, you know you never beat us on the battlefield. And he's like, I know that, but it's also irrelevant. However, waging a guerrilla war or an insurgency does not come without costs. Guerrillas die, insurgents, whatever you want to call them, die at a very high rate, at least compared to the conventional forces they generally oppose. There's also a lot of civilian casualties in the area, and there's a lot of destruction, and the war can drag on and on and on for a real long time. Like, look at the Vietnam War, look at the war in Afghanistan, look at the Chinese in Tibet. Yeah, the Chinese lost that one. Well, the Tibetans lost that one. The Chinese managed to suppress the insurgency. And, damn, these things can just go on and on and on forever. That doesn't mean they always will go on and on and on and on forever. But, the longest wars are generally guerrilla, unconventional ones. Now, granted, I admit I'm not too sure of when the first standing army came about, but guerrillas generally are not standing armies. They can be, but not really, but not most of the time. However, the two can blend a lot of the times. Like in the Japanese invasion of China in the Sino-Japanese War, there was a lot of conventional fighting, but there was also a lot of unconventional fighting. Same goes true with Vietnam. Same goes true with the American Revolution. You know, there are just so many factors that go into it. But the typical tactics of guerrilla warfare are, sabotage, hit and run, bombings, terrorism. Terrorism is a tactic, by the way. Propaganda, and a few other things. The idea is to wear the opponent down. It's kind of like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for militaries. It gives the little guy a chance to beat the big guy. That's the idea. And it's typically done only as a last resort for reasons that should be obvious. Like, you'll take high casualties, and if your opponent decides to become genocidal, he can launch a very nasty genocide and and there's really nothing you can do to stop him. Even if you do manage to win, he will kill untold numbers of people. And granted, insurgencies frequently occur in wars that are mostly conventional, such as World War I, World War II, the American Civil War. The list goes on and on and on. And, see, keeping a guerrilla if you look at what Mao Zedong said in his book on guerrilla warfare, he says that the population is the water in which the fish of the insurgency swim. And he pretty much, and the Chinese communists should get out of guerrilla warfare as soon as they can and go conventional when they have enough strength. However, this does not always work out too well, going conventional. Just because you can go conventional doesn't mean you should. Boudica made that mistake in her rebellion. She was doing a wonderful job of fighting unconventionally, but when she decided to go conventional and go stand toe-to-toe with the Roman legion, it was one of the biggest, Walting Street or whatever, I can't remember. Waring Street or something. I can't remember the W word, but anyway, the Roman legions just slaughtered the disorganized British. It was so epic. Anyway, it has insurgencies. There are two ways to beat them. You either separate the fish from the water, i.e. by winning over the population, or you launch a very efficient genocide. Granted, it must be an efficient genocide because if it's not very efficient, you'll just create way more guerrillas and insurgents by doing that. And basically every civilian hurt, killed, or even treated disrespectfully, every civilian hurt, killed, or treated disrespectfully is basically a victory for the insurgencies and a defeat for the occupying force. A propaganda victory because they can get more recruits. And, you know, there are so many successful guerrilla uprisings. And guerrillas sometimes fight guerrillas. Like it happened in Iraq numerous times. And in Greece during the Civil War, and Greece during their Civil War and World War II before that. In Yugoslavia. I mean, again, the list can just go on and on and on. But insurgencies typically are, the modern world, at least America, the British probably learned this before we did, is that you need highly efficient special operations soldiers to put down an insurgency. And it's kind of like, that's what they're doing against ISIS. ISIS has almost been virtually destroyed, and ISIS combined both conventional and unconventional tactics. However, although they've been driven underground, ISIS is not gone. Make no mistake about it, that war will continue to be fought. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, stay cool. Bye.